Would you like a tea?
No, thank you. It's going to be too hot.
It's Sherlock, so it's on brand.
Thank you.
That's okay. After the longest year of our lifetimes, it feels wise to go through and pluck out some of the life lessons we found along the way. The little gems amongst the storm of
Bollocks.
Bollocks? Quite frankly, we spent a lot of 2020 trying to learn and reflect and understand ourselves a bit more. So we thought it would be worthwhile to share some of those lessons. Gather them all up, put them all in a little bag,
and give them to you.
Give them away.
Here you go.
So here are 20 lessons from 2020. So number 1 is... Oh, I didn't do the welcome back to youtube.com thingy.
Sam Angl.
Yeah, that one. Shall I do that now, or should we...
I don't really like it when you do that.
Oh, really? Number 1 is everyone has stuff going on, so I've learnt to just take a pause. When things get a bit rough, I just remember to breathe in and breathe out and just reflect on the moment and... What?
I feel like you don't do that.
Well, I'm working to... I'm like, that's something I've learned.
Lesson in motion.
That's a nice phrase.
It's happening.
I'm learning to do...
You can have that.
I can have that, thank you. Yeah, I got one!
My first lesson is how much writing every day helps me, whether that's journaling or writing poetry. And even though I don't do it every day, like the time periods in which I noticed how much it helped.
No, I have that too as well. I like, some days you'll be like, do your journaling, and when I do my journaling I'll be... It's like having a pause. It's like taking a breath in and out, and then suddenly I'm...
Like a lesson in motion.
Yeah, lesson in motion. That sounds really sensible and linked. Number 2 is when I'm feeling super down, I try and do something for someone else. Essentially, if I'm feeling really rough, instead of trying to do the shower or do the journaling or do the meditation or whatever it is that sort of pops in the head, instead, I just try and make you a cup of tea. And that in its own right is an act. And also because you enjoy tea, makes me feel a bit better. Speaking of, is it any good?
Yeah, it's fine.
And it's just like that, I feel so much better about myself.
This one is quite ironic, but it's how to be alone. Because last year when we went into the first lockdown, I was completely by myself for weeks on end, nobody anywhere. It was sort of the first time in my life where I spent time properly by myself, and it was so invigorating. No offence.
My third lesson, I learned to be nice to myself, because I'm learning to be nicer to myself. Beating myself up just gets me nowhere, but being nice actually does help. Being forgiving and accepting of the situation, particularly when things are so rough at the moment, universally and personally, just being nicer about that makes such a difference. And I could make it sound like a productivity YouTuber, but essentially being encouraging as opposed to being nasty to myself as motivation. Game changer.
I've learned how to cook beautiful roast potatoes.
Yes.
Vegan, crispy, beautiful, golden, soft on the inside, salty roast potatoes.
Number 4, I learned that I am a worthwhile, fallible human being. Why did you do that?
No, you are. I'm not saying you're not. It's just I've heard it so many times. Sort of like when you say I love you too much and it starts to lose its meaning a little. My number 4 is that I've learnt how to handle my depression in the mornings. When I was living by myself, and then subsequently when I moved in with other people, when I need to use the toilet for the first time in the mornings, that's when I go and I get straight in the shower and it starts my day because I have to get dressed.
Yeah.
And I'm clean.
You have to go to the toilet, so you might as well. It's in the same
might as
room.
well.
Get it done. Get it done. Number 5 is I learnt that I love reading, which sounds ridiculous because I did an English degree, but it took me a year after hating that English degree to get back into reading. It also took a lot of being stuck indoors. But we got there. I think my top 5 books from 2020, these are books I read, not necessarily books that came out, were The Power,
Yes.
Make Time, Story Worthy,
Yeah.
Women Don't Owe You Pretty.
Yes.
And A Little Happier by Darren Brown.
Yeah.
Actually, from that I learned a lot about stoicism, which is a whole other thing I could talk about, but there are so many little tidbits from that book that I love, but probably the biggest takeaway would be my number 6. I vastly overestimate my own abilities and vastly underestimate others. So essentially I'm quite quick to praise myself and quite quick to dismiss others. I think it's something that we all are somewhat, to a degree, inclined to do, but I've noticed it on myself. Particularly when it comes to dishwashing. I'll be quick to complain about a dirty bowl. But
it's usually your dirty bowl.
It's usually my dirty bowl and I've forgotten it was mine.
My number 5, however ironic it is how powerful green spaces are. Going outside, going on your silly little walk and going to your silly little park. Because of the having to have one daily walk a day.
State mandatory walk.
I think I just really appreciate going out and getting into trees and grass, as if that's not normal. My number 6 is leading on from getting outside, how much less it hurts than I thought it would to break a bone. I took up skateboarding last year, 3 days in, broke my wrist in 3 places. In a green space.
We love the rule of 3s.
It didn't hurt as much as I thought it did, and subsequently I got up and the doctor said I shook my bones like a maraca in my wrist.
My number 7, if it helps even one person or helps 1%, it's worth it. So that's something I've adopted, not just for YouTube content or well-being stuff, but just even if something you do can contribute to one person. It doesn't have to contribute to millions or thousands or even hundreds. Just one person makes it worthwhile. And even if brushing my teeth only helps a tiny, tiny bit, that's absolutely worth it. In the mighty words of the mighty, mighty Tesco,
every little
our
helps.
great rulers, because they are open currently and indefinitely. Every little helps.
Tesco?
Pat. No, Pat and the ours is Asda.
My number 7 is how to advocate for myself. So I think it came hand in hand with living by myself and spending a lot of time by myself, being able to say no or being able to change plans. When you know that you're in a bad relationship and you just and leave. Just knowing when something isn't right for you and voicing that, which is a continuous life lesson. A lesson in motion, if you will. But I think this year, or 2020 specifically, taught me that very heavy-handedly.
I feel dumb now. My number 8's really dumb. You did this quite valid point about being your own advocate and sticking up for yourself, and my number 8 is that I love pickles.
Yeah, that's valid.
I didn't know that. I thought I hated pickles, but then I had pickles from the jar. Pickles from the jar! Yeah, but realising that I liked pickles made me reflect on a lot of my taste and how much it's changed since going vegan, actually. Like mushrooms is something I used to avoid. I probably wouldn't have liked nooch, and nooch is now one of my MVPs.
Nutritional yeast.
Thank you for explaining to me what that actually was.
No, I was just doing it in case somebody was like, the
fuck is nooch?
My number 8 is making internet friends quite young has been a life-saving skill the last year.
Yeah.
I noticed that a lot of people who hadn't done that or were a bit older or a bit younger had no clue how to uphold
They were
friendships.
wrecked. Yeah. They had no practice.
Whereas we losers, we made friendships with people we'd never even met.
And now I was going to say, including
what
us.
was that?
That was like a puppet. Like it. Sick. My number 9 is that me having high standards does not equal a high output. When I look at something like the Dawn Chorus, which took several months to make, I don't think it is worthy of several months' work. It was just because my high standards were there. I'm going to try and just take it by the book. 70% is my bar now, and just get things done, not get things perfect.
Well, it's like when you're editing for other people and I'll come over and I'll be like, you've spent the last half an hour just trying to edit that one meme when you haven't finished the entire video yet.
Yeah, it
it's
was
like,
such a good meme.
You've got to finish the video and then add the memes in afterwards.
Yeah, I'm going to just take it easier, both on myself and on my work, and just get things done, not get things perfect. What's your number 9?
My number 9. Performative style / femininity is different to what I actually want to present. So TikTok has taught me this thing about internalised male gaze that, considering I'm doing a gender and sexuality degree, I should have known more about before. But it's basically that a lot of women and femme people internalize a male gaze so that even when you're by yourself, you are projecting this femininity that you don't have to be, or you potentially don't want to be. Sometimes I present myself as very feminine when I'm like, I don't want to do that today. Or like, I will present myself in a way that's like very palatable, would make me feel more safe, when in actual fact,
Yeah,
I don't want to do that.
100% get you. Would you maybe explain it to me later?
Yeah.
Thank you. And my number 10, my last but not least, but I wouldn't say best. Let's not get carried away. How important exercise is for my head. I've been working out and it's made my head better, made me feel mentally more clear and a lot more myself. And I knew this would happen. I kind of had read enough about it that I knew that physical exercise would help me mentally, but actually doing it made a huge difference. It's worth the hype. Even if I, wasn't ripped to shreds like I am now, the mental benefits will be worth it. I'm done. I'm closing my laptop. That's it. I'm out.
My last one is learning that it's okay and good to trust your own choices. Traumatic experiences teach you not to trust yourself and trust your own choices. I've been working on and learning a lot about trusting my own choices. And a perfect example of that is I've wanted tattoos forever. Always. And I finally booked one before lockdown happened, and I was always really worried that I wasn't going to like it, or it would get like 2 years down the line and I'd be like, what have I done? I don't like it, which is silly because I've wanted them forever. Obviously it's been like over a year now since that first appointment was cancelled for that tattoo, and I'm still like, I really want it.
Yeah, that's affirming. All right, so thanks so much for watching. This video in its own is kind of contributing to the lesson number 9 of trying not to perfect. So if you didn't enjoy it, then
suck my
I really need to go to the toilet, so I'm going to wrap this up very promptly. If you want to see more of Angela, she's got a video on her channel. She's actually got quite a few, not to brag or anything. I might be in some. You have to find me. That's all. Thanks so much for watching. Goodbye. Bye. Bye.